There's a question most men never think to ask themselves in the middle of all the missing. Because missing feels so certain, so absolute. I missed her, full stop. But what if it is not that simple? What if what you are missing is not entirely who she was, but what the two of you were, what life felt like when someone was there? Few years ago, there was a man with foundation beneath him can build almost anything. Welcome back to the channel. If you are just joining this series, I'm glad you are here. We've been walking through the quite specific, deeply personal experience that comes after a relationship's end. Not the surface emotion, the one underneath, the one that takes time and honesty to locate. And if you have been here since the first episode, thank you. Genuinely, the fact that you keep showing up for this conversation tells me something important about the kind of a man you are. You are someone who wants to understand, not just survive this, but actually understand it. And today's episode is built entirely around the kind of honesty, because today we ask a question that is simple on the surface and profound underneath. Are you missing her, or are you missing what you had? So stay with me, this one matters. In the early days and weeks after it ends, you missed everything. You missed her voice, her presence, the way she laughed, the way she knew things about you without being told. The inside jokes, the shared language that only the two of you spoke. And the missing feels like one solid, undivided thing, like a single weight pressing on your chest. But as time passes, if you sit with it honestly, something begins to shift, something begins to separate. You start to notice that what you are missing isn't exactly her. It is a feeling of having someone, the comfort of a shared routine, the warmth of not coming home to silence, the sense of purpose that comes from being somebody's person, the future you had mapped out in your mind, the one that is now unrecognizable. And that distinction, as uncomfortable as it is to examine, is one of the most important things you can understand about your own grief. If this series has been speaking to something real in you, share this episode in particular. Because this question, missing her or missing what you had, is one that most men never get to ask, and it can unlock something significant in the healing process. Pass it to someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you won't miss a single episode. We are going somewhere important with this series, and I want you to hear all of it. Here is where it gets even more layered, because sometimes what you are missing wasn't even fully present anymore towards the end. The connection had already gone distant. The warmth had already cooled. The version of the relationship you are grieving may have been the early version, the one from years ago, before the distance, before the arguments, before the slow unraveling that you both try to ignore for longer than you should. And so you find yourself missing something that had already been gone for a while before she left. You are not just grieving the end, you are grieving the whole heart, the beginning, the middle, the version of yourself that existed inside that relationship, the version of the future that will never happen now. And all of that is a legitimate loss. If every single layer of it, even the ones that I have to name, we'll be right back after a short break. Stay with me, because after this, we get into why this distinction actually matters and what it opens up for you when you begin to see it clearly. Welcome back. So why does this distinction matters? Because it changes what you do next. If what you are primarily missing is the specific person, the specific connection, the irreplaceable things that were unique to who she was, then your grief is about her and it deserves to be honored as that. But if what you are primarily missing is what you had, the companionship, the structure, the feeling of being known and chosen by someone, the life that was built around the partnership, then your grief is about something broader, something that exists beyond her specifically, something that can be rebuilt, something that can be found again, not as a replacement, not immediately, but as a reminder that what you are longing for is not gone from your future. It is just absent from your present. And that is a very different thing. One closes a door, the other simply says, not yet, but not never. So I want to invite you to sit with this question honestly, not to minimize what you felt, not to reduce a real relationship to a category, to understand yourself more clearly when you miss her. Ask yourself, what specifically am I missing right now? Is it something about who she was uniquely, or is it something about life felt when someone was there? And if it is the latter, if it is the one, the companionship, the shared life, let that be a signal, not of weakness, but of clarity. A signal that tells you what you value, what you need, what kind of life you are built for. And let that clarity become something you carry forward, not as a longing, but as a knowledge. Knowledge about the kind of love you want to build next, the kind of partnership that actually fits who you are becoming. Because a man who knows what he truly needs is a man who will recognize it when it arrives and will not settle for anything less. One day you will look back on this question and realize it was one of the most honest things you ever asked yourself, because it didn't just help you understand the grief, it helped you understand you, what you are made for, what you are moving towards, what kind of life and love actually fit the man you are. And armed with that understanding, you won't just be healed from what ended, you will be building towards something more honest, more intentional, more aligned with who you truly are. That is not a small thing, that is everything. If this episode opens something up for you today, share it. Pass it to a man who is deep in the missing and has never stopped to ask himself this question. It might be the thing that shifts something for him. Subscribe so that you are here when the next episode drops, because next we'll go into the habits, the daily routine, and the small rituals that still carries our present without warning. The ones that catch you completely off guard. That episode is going to be deeply relatable. Until next time, ask yourself the honest question. Sit with the answer. It knows more than you think.